find some sort of harmony and balance.
I have to believe that when I knock on the door, it's going to open. Otherwise, I'm not going to fucking knock on the door, right? Yet we won't do that. Why? I mean, this is the mechanism that's been created. If we all go on our Facebooks, right? Well, not me because they deleted my shit, but if we go on our social media and you write a post like, oh man, I'm having a tough day, this sucks, and like, you basically, you're a little bitch on social media, right? And you complain, right? Everyone's gonna come in and be like, oh, it's okay, you're strong, keep your head up, right? I got you, like, yeah, right? They're gonna coddle you like a little baby, like, oh, it's okay, right? But like, do the opposite. I'm the shit. I took 3 listings this week, I'm the motherfucking man. Right? What happens? Oh, get off your high horse, you fucking arrogant motherfucker. Da, 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 right? Like, who do you think you are? You ain't all that, right? Like, right? It's like, whoa. So I simply acknowledged what I was doing, and suddenly I'm, Tony Montana, the fucking, the evil guy. But when I was beating myself up, everybody's like. So you have to understand that mechanism, because the example I just gave you guys, you would all confirm. You play a victim, everyone will fucking get your back. But then you praise yourself, even just acknowledge what you did. Not even like over acknowledging it. You'll get either no support, very little support, or even some hate. Like you'll get a PM, hey, chill out. Like you're thinking a little too highly of yourself. So it's built in right there for us to be conditioned to behave that way, right? Because that will dictate people's actions. And we know that based on what we've been talking about for a little bit here. What I'm asking for you guys is to be able to see that and start to step away from it. When you do, there's a lot of backlash for that shit. Because I've been dealing with that shit for 10 years now, because I've been doing fucking stuff online. And it never ceases to crack me up and amaze me, the bullshit that people say and the amount of trolls that there are online, right? But I can tell you, I'm living in a position now where all the other bullshit doesn't affect me anymore. Or it affects me at least way less than everybody else. So now when I walk into a listing appointment, like let's say 7 years ago, right? I'm 3 years in the game, 7 years ago. You walk in a little bit differently. You're not like, oh, I'm new. I hope they like me. I hope I get the listing. Like, could you ever imagine me talking like that, Paula? Right? Like if we went to a listing appointment, what suit do you think I would wear?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember what we did when we went to Georgia. Remember, it was like a $2 million listing, and you're like, yeah. Like it was just so easy.
Yeah. So again, and let me give you a reference. So I had a dude who was friends of a friend from college, hits me up online. Hey, can you help us? Right? And this house is in Georgia. It's like some big ass house on like what, equestrian, fucking 8 acres. Like, I don't know shit about Georgia, right? You know what I mean? But I was like, oh, of course we can help you. Of course. Like, of course. I was like, can you say his name? Roberto. Who speaks Spanish here? Can you please work with Paula when I'm gone? Because it's fucking horrendous. Roberto. Okay, good. Please, right? So we go, and I included Paula, right? She was the southeastern regional leader at the time. We had Roberto, right? Who's our Atlanta agent, and then he ended up listing the property. But we take the listing, easy. Right? Like it was no sweat off our back. Now, imagine the average agent doing that. Oh my God, it's a new state and I don't know the market. And they would talk themselves out of it. And then they would show up like nervous and shit. Like, and I was telling her, I was like, dude, I told her, what did I tell you? Yeah. Watch how easy this shit is going to be. We were
reviewing, I'm not saying everybody should do this, but we were talking about comparables on the drive, like from the hotel to the house, like 30-minute drive. And he was asking me questions, and I'm pulling him up, and I'm telling him, and he's like, okay, I got it.
Yeah, simple. And then we got it at 6%, no problem. Everyone's like, oh my God, different state and 6%, and how'd you do this? I do. But it's the attitude. It's how we walked in there. I was like, dude, I'll take care of it. He basically talked himself into it. I didn't even do a fucking presentation. At the end, I was like, let's sit right here. Cool, okay, you ready? Sign. Okay, done. And then when I walked out, I was like, I don't know shit about this market. I don't know shit about this house. But we just got this listing. And then it sold, what, in 2 weeks?
Yeah, 12 days.
12 days. Done. Easy. Right? Because again, selling a house is selling a house. We know it. We overcomplicate it now. Right? You'll sit down with the seller, and this is where this comes in. Excuse me. So whether it's a $2 million house or whatever, older seller, younger seller, it doesn't matter. You'll sit with them, and then in y'all's mind, when you're sitting with them, you're viewing them as like higher up than you, and you're like belittling yourself mentally, even before you go into the listing appointment. Why? Who's the one in real estate, them or you? You. So even if you're new, why are you going, oh man, I need to impress the seller and hopefully they like me? They don't know shit about real estate. Straight up. Right? So again, I'm bringing that up because even if you show up to the listing appointment and you have your information, if that's where you're at mentally, you're going to lose. Because it oozes out from everything that you do. When you guys talk to people and you interact with them in the real world, the people who are weak, that shit is oozing out of their fucking pores, isn't it? Is it attractive to you? No. Do you want to do business with them and be friends with them? No. You want to say, get the fuck away from me, right? It's weird. It's like, the person who's like at the gas station who asks you for money, when they walk up, just by how they walk up, you already know they're going to ask you for money. Right? The walk tells you everything. It could be a fucking alien. If it does that walk, it's like, nah, bro, I'm not going to give you any money. Go back to your planet, right? Because there's certain indicators that we give off as human beings that either say I'm strong or I'm weak or I need this commission or I don't, right? That's what we need to focus on when it comes to this. But what dictates how I'm going to carry myself as a person? What dictates that? What comes before that?
Your own drive. Your own drive.
Yeah, it's mental. That's why so much about what I cover and talk about, whether it's technical or not, comes back to this. Because when you look in the mirror, what do you say? How many of you have like time every day? I still do it. Not every day, but I still do it where I'll look at myself in the mirror. How many of you do that? Yeah, but you earlier you were saying you're the best.
Yeah, I do that.
It's interrelated, by the way, right? How many of you do that? Yeah? So what goes through your mind when you guys look in the mirror?
I'm always in abundance. That's what I say.
Good.
I'll be like putting on like lotion at the same time. So be like, yo.
So it's positive. It's overall positive. How about you?
Always positive. Just trying to uplift myself, affirmations, things like that.
Cool. Good.
It's a good day to be great. That's what I always say.
Good. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yeah. Nobody? Okay. This is something I recommend you do because, again, regardless, put aside how you feel about yourself in this moment, right? You want to get to the point where you're comfortable doing that. Like you're not looking at yourself and you're automatically like, oh, I don't like my hair. You know the bullshit we do with ourselves, right? Like I could imagine with the cast, like fucking gimp, you know what I mean? Like really belittling yourself when really like it is what it is, right? Because man, when it comes to injuries, when I had my second ankle surgery, I didn't walk for like 6 months, right? Because I was overseas and I got hurt again. Like it was just a bitch. Like I hated being injured. So when I see that, it like gives me flashbacks and I get mad almost, right? So, but this is the same thing that translates to this next question I'm going to tell you. How many of you, if you've made a video, right? And like, let's say you were going to show it to me, would feel comfortable watching yourself while you're showing me the video?
Absolutely not.
Okay, you see? It's like, okay, go watch it. Right? That's that same thing that when you're in the mirror, right? Even if you keep looking at yourself in the mirror, it's that same kind of like delusion, like, right? Now, again, I would ask, is that the person that can sit in front of a fucking seller and be like, yeah, I'll sell your house, no problem. Right? Again, you're speaking to them from here, the solar plexus, right? It's just, it's oozing out. They could be like, she talks the talk, but she doesn't walk the walk. And I go into a meeting like, oh, we're taking this shit. The question is how quickly are we taking this listing? And are we taking it at 7% or 8%? Right? Like that's my mentality. Now people go, oh man, that's crazy. Good. Who the fuck wants to be normal? Normal doesn't win in this game. We all go on a listing appointment. Only one of us is getting the listing. Everyone else ain't zero. There's no second place or third place trophies. So as an exercise, I'm going to give you 2. One is the mirror exercise. I would recommend you guys look at yourself in the mirror at least a minute a day. Some of you are more advanced and you speak to yourself. You don't have to start. You don't have to start with that yet, right? Just look at yourself in the mirror. I want you to become comfortable looking at yourself. Now, once that's easy, take it to the next level. We're all adults here, right? So no giggling. Do it naked. Do it naked. That one is difficult for a lot of people. I still have people telling me today, from like a year or 2 ago, that they still can't do that because they're not comfortable enough yet. Because they become hypercritical of themselves. Oh, I got a little too much fat here, right? Then get your ass in the gym then, right? Work out. Come work out with me. You'll be fucking tight in like a week. So that's that. Now, the video one, right? Would you guys agree with me that you need to get to the point and relatively quickly to where you can watch yourself on video and maybe not be like, oh, I'm the shit, but at least be comfortable with it? Okay. So what steps are we going to take in order to remedy that? That's one of them. Absolutely. Right? No, I'm asking now, how are we going to get to the point where if you watch yourself on video or you show me a video of you, you're comfortable doing that and seeing yourself on video? What are some things that we can do? Right? He brought up doing more videos, which is, of course, yeah, repetition, of course, is going to get you there 100%.
Just show people like, hey, look at me.
Okay, that's another one. Absolutely, 100%. How about this? I want you guys, whether you're producing consistently or not, and this is the power of groups, by the way, right? Like if you guys are a part of a group or something, you can create, like what I would do in my coaching is say, okay, if any of you want to improve in your, video creating abilities, you remember this, Paula, you can post in the group, right? And you won't have that fear of judgment, like your family's going to look at it or someone's going to be, oh, I saw your video, you look stupid, and what the fuck are you doing, right? Because now this is a protected environment. But what I want you to do is, even if you don't do that, make the video, and I want you to watch it, kind of like the mirror exercise, but I want you to do this. Watch the video, right? Or if it's on your laptop, get a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, okay? Now, on the right side, I want you to write all the critiques you would normally write of yourself. I don't like my voice, I don't like my nose, I don't like my hair, right? All the nonsense you fucking tell yourself, right? Write it out. We'll call that the bullshit section, right? Write it down. Now, on the other side, and I'm having you write that down first because that's where we default, right? We're very hypercritical of ourselves, okay? So if you write 20 things there, you're gonna have to write 20 things that you actually acknowledge of yourself in a positive way, and you're gonna have to match it. And if that shit takes you a week to do, I want you to work on it. Because for some of you, you'll write 1 or 2 good things and you're like, oh, I can't. Like you'll struggle because you never give yourself any credit. And that to me is an indicator of somebody with very low self-esteem and self-awareness and self-confidence. Yet you're going to talk to me about making 100,000 or 200,000 in real estate? Fucking forget it. Because I don't know anybody who's doing big numbers who doesn't at least think highly of themselves. You know how many confident agents I met that are literal idiots and they're making money? Where I'm like, dude, if this guy can make money, like, wow. Like I could train my fucking cats to sell real estate and they're going to fucking make more money than this dude. You know what I mean? Yeah, and like Paula, fucking hey, are you gonna bring your cats? Are you gonna bring your cats? Because I got the hairless cats, the Sphinx cats, and she's like, oh, bring them, right? They got that stoic look too. They'll probably scare the fuck out of her. Yeah. I'll just have them up here and I'll be petting them like this. I'll just be petting them like that, and they're big too. Pharaoh, the big one, he's like a fucking little cheetah, all right? Yeah, so every once in a while, like when I got to go pick up the Amazon packages, I got to hold them back, you know.
So, can I check on the video thing?
Yeah, sure.
So I just wanted to say that what I feel that people fail to realize is that how you communicate in person with someone, if you're speaking to another agent, you're speaking to a seller, a buyer, whoever it might be, the way that your look, sound, the way that you're speaking, it's the same exact way on video. So it's really no different. Like it's just still you. And that's
what transforms in this process is as you become a more proficient communicator, better self-esteem, better confidence. Now when you talk to people, you're not here anymore. Because normally when we talk to people, when we lack confidence, we're self-conscious, huh? Oh, I can't show this side of my hip. You know, like you're here, you're not here. When you're evolved more in communication, now it's out. Now it's like, I don't care what you think. I don't care if you think I'm fucking short, ugly. Like, I don't care. I'm talking to you now. Let's talk, right? Same thing with eye contact. Oh, that's a big one. People's fucking eye contact today is fucking horrible, right? Like, I've been talking to people. I'm like, yo. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, see, you guys have to understand from a body language perspective what you're giving off. If I have shitty eye contact, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, oh man, this is the agent to represent my house for sure. You're like shady, lack of confidence, doesn't know what they're doing, right? So all these things are being sub-communicated to people in here without them coming up with a list. And all that manifests is, you know what, thank you for your time, we're gonna think about it, goodbye. That's the answer that you get. They're not gonna tell you, oh, your eye contact was poor. They're not gonna give you a fucking laundry list. They're just gonna say, what do they go with? A feeling.
they don't trust you.
Yeah. It just didn't feel right to hire so-and-so, right? But what is that? That's the unspoken language. But we think, oh no, just give me the fucking perfect script and I can just come up here and I'm good. Well, if you deliver the perfect script like shit, it's not gonna get you the result, right? So what are some things you guys can do? Every time you walk into a room, check yourself and tell yourself, you know what? And this is an exercise I used to do. I used to walk into anywhere, a networking event. Dude, I would walk into a fucking club this way, right? Chest back, smiling, and I would randomly, like it could be a spot on the wall, like next to Drew, I would wave like I knew somebody, right? Hey, what's up, man? And I'm fucking talking to the wall, you know what I mean? But what does that indicate to the room? You're comfortable, you belong there, you might know somebody, you're already assessed differently. And I did this just as an exercise for me to make sure I walk into a room pleasantly, not like this. Like we do sometimes. Like some of you maybe even snuck in here, like try not to say hi to anybody. You're like, hey, dude. Like that's, again, why am I bringing that up? Because if you do that here, you're doing it in other places. I want you to be the fucking star everywhere you go. So I don't know if you've shared with them, Paula, like now she would text me like, oh man, you know, like I got a lead at the fucking supermarket, right? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well,
Yeah.
before I got real estate, I just tend to be that person that was sort of like, walk down, look down. I'm a little bit more of the introvert. I know Bryan doesn't like that word, but
Fuck introverts.
I wouldn't necessarily talk to people in the supermarket or just smile even or give any kind of eye contact. I just look down and just did what I had to do. And then when I got into real estate and I joined Bryan's coaching program, he really spoke on that. And so I got to the point where now I'm in the supermarket and just striking up a random conversation with somebody about ketchup, or, hi, how are you doing today? And there you go, and boom, you can now.
Does that not make life better?
It absolutely does, yeah. But it requires a different level of, I suppose, confidence about your communication skills and your ability.
100%. If I generate a communication with you, it is therefore my responsibility to continue it and lead it down the path that I would like for it to go, right? And that's why we won't do it, because we're like, oh, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do, right? And this is the issue for people. The more I practice and the more I understand these things, it's easier to lead the conversation. But how are we going to get better? By having more conversations. So what I referred to earlier when I said it doesn't have to just be in the traditional sense, that's what I'm referring to. I would get extra contacts every day at the mall, fucking at the gas station. I turned a gas station attendant into a fucking buyer. When I'm sure most of you would be like, oh, she's probably broke as fuck or he's broke as fuck. He's not going to be able to buy a house. And after 2 conversations, because look, when you talk to people at stores, they work there. You're going to see them again, right? So the second time I talk to that, and you know how I started the conversation? I said, how many people have you talked to today? She's like, what do you mean? I was like, people, check in here all the time and like pay you, right? Take a guess. And she's like, oh shit, I've been here like 6 hours. It's probably like 155. And I was like, and how many of them were an asshole to you? She laughs. She's like, only like 1. I was like, wow. So that means in general, people are actually a lot nicer than we think, huh? She's like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. And you know where that question came from? I was just curious. Because I remember that day people were talking about, oh, when you cold call, everybody's an asshole and everybody's mean. And I was like, dude, I make tens of thousands of calls and door knocks. No, most people are actually kind of fucking nice. But again, I'm speaking from a position of experience that most people don't have. So I asked that question all the time to somebody at a supermarket or the gas station or whatever. And it opens up conversations. Right? But that was just a genuine, curious question from me. It wasn't like, oh, I got this magical script from Bryan. No, I was just generating conversation. Then from there it goes. Because when you work and have a conversation with like a worker, an employee, when you have a real conversation with them, they break out of their work mode and they talk to you. Right? It's the same thing like when I would do this with like waiters and waitresses. It takes a second sometimes for them to break out of the work mode and actually talk to you. Why? Because most people don't even fucking give them any attention. And most people actually treat them like shit. Believe it or not. Right? And that to me is something I look at with people. It's like, that's an indication of your character, bro. Why are you treating them like shit? What's wrong with you? What, you think you're better than somebody? Just because of their job title? Let's see in 3 years, what if they're a multimillionaire? Are you going to treat them the same? Oh no, now you're going to kiss their ass? Like, oh, can I go learn from you? What do you do for work? It's like, come on, dude. But see, you start assessing these things and learning these things by doing them. But the beauty of it is, I brought up sub-communicating, right? How many of you, when you're out, it's normal in your experience for people to open up conversations with you and talk to you? Good. Well, I mean, I'm in a room full of women. Of course, everyone's going to fucking talk to you, right? Like, oh, hey, how are you doing, right? It's a little different for you guys. Now, the beauty of being a female in my eyes when it comes to sales is you actually have a tactical advantage. Because if I call an expired or I knock their door versus you, they're much faster to tell me to fuck off than you. Why do you think when people get assistants, most of them are females? Because when you call and they answer, a female voice is a lot more pleasant than my deep-ass male voice. That's why. Right? Your voice is more pleasant than mine. Every single one of you in here that's a woman. Right? Now, because I think a lot of times women think the opposite. Like, oh, well, you know, it's tougher. No, it's not. It's not tougher for you. You have, I truly believe this, and you can vouch because I've been saying this for years. Skill, if you're matched, I think the woman will beat the man because of your advantages, right? When you're in person, you're a lot less threatening and imposing than us. You can actually push a lot more in the sale and get away with it versus me. I do one little nudge, like, oh, this asshole is aggressive. You might shove it down their throat and they're like, oh, she was sharp. She was good. I like her style, right? It's crazy. But then if I do it, it's, oh, here's the pushy fucking dick, man. Like, oh, don't talk to him, bro. He's going to fucking sell the shit out of you, right? But again, it's the package that it's coming in, even if we said the same exact fucking words, right? You're visually more appealing than we are as women. You smell better on average than men, right? On average, I say, right? So you have all of these advantages that in your mind, you need to carry with you. The only thing you guys need to do when the moment calls for it is step into being more, in quotes, manly when the situation calls for it, right? Because that's another thing I see the lady, oh, I got to be, no. And during the sale, you're not nice. That's a problem. Men have it too. Well, shit. Don't even get me started with that. Men nowadays are fucking soft as Charmin fucking toilet paper, right? But everyone's laughing like, yep, right? When the sale comes and you ask for the signature, or you're making a request, or you're making a demand from the seller, it comes like that. This is what it is, Mr. Seller. That's when you step into it. You don't have to be like that, all hard and tough 24/7, no. But when the sale and the moment calls for it, you do it, right? That's adaptability. And the key word there that I would write down is capacity. Do you have the capacity to tell a seller no? No, Mr. Seller. Or are you like, oh, I would never tell a seller no. That's a problem. What happens when they cross the line and disrespect you? What are you going to do? Because it's happened to me. It's happened to my team members. I've had to rip the phone out of my team members' hands and be like, Mr. Seller, who the do you think you're talking to, bro? I was like, I know where you live. So you need to think very carefully about what you say next, my guy. Oh, you know, I'm sorry. And then when you check them, someone will apologize and back off. Cool, no problem, man. I'm just letting you know. Have I disrespected you up until this point? Cool, then I expect the same respect from you in return. Fair? Cool. Oh, no, but okay, cool. Then we can cancel the deal. Click, done, move on to the next one. All right? I'm not going to take, none of you should take disrespect from anybody. Ever. Especially in this profession. I've had long conversations with people. I'm like, I feel like, Mr. Seller, you look down upon realtors. And they're like, yeah, I do. I'm like, why? Oh, then they said all this shit. I was like, everything that you just said, you think I'm that way? They're like, well, no. I'm like, then why would you say it? You know, then I was like, you need to correct what you're saying. It's not every agent. It's some agents. Fair, but at least be precise with what you're saying. Don't just throw out these blanket statements. Oh, all realtors are idiots. Really? You think I'm dumb, bro? Let's do an IQ test. Guarantee you I got double of what your shit is. Right? I have no problem when I need to. Because, dude, you guys, am I an asshole?
Are you an asshole? No.
But sometimes when I come up and speak and people don't know me, like, damn, he's like a little too much, or shit, he's like that all the time. I'm not. She even asked my assistant, oh, he's a goofball. Yeah, because I'm always joking around and having a good time. But when I need to step the fuck up, I will. No problem. Right? Like if I need to be tough in a situation, or I need to be like, hey, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like I'm capable of doing whatever I need to do. I can meet with some of my friends that buy houses that are fucking hood as shit back in LA, right? And then I've also worked with top level fucking CEOs. Oh, hello, sir. Yes, good afternoon. And again, I'm not naturally like that, but I can accommodate to whoever I'm dealing with.
Can I also interject?
Yeah.
Something that you taught me over the years. When talking about respect, I remember I'm going to go to Louisa because she was really new at the time when she's on my team. And he was very rude and disrespectful. And she's used to customer service, like for her job.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Like stuff like that. Oh,
so that was,
man.
And she's like super nice. And I said to her,
you should have three-wayed me.
I was like, Louisa, wait. I'm like, okay, are you always this nice? Is that just your personality? And she's like, yeah, you know, and I said, okay, we gotta change that.
Oh, we gotta boot camp that. We gotta boot camp that and get it out of her system. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, so the moment that you let a seller or a buyer or any customer walk all over you, that's gonna be a nightmare transaction. Like, and that's
100%. Same thing with like, all of you should have a standard operating procedure, right? One of those things being, when do you call it a day? If I'm your client and I call you at 10 p.m., number one, why am I calling you at 10? That's because you didn't tell me that you're not available at 10. And what did realtors say? I'm available 24/7. Nah, bro, you're a fucking loser. No, right? You just say that because you think it's going to get you business. Now, if you're really the 24/7 guy, kudos, bro, but I doubt it. You're just saying that as a marketing gimmick, right? Do any of you, raise your hand if you want to get a phone call from a seller at 11 p.m. at night. No. Right. Drew's like, fuck it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah, right. So I even tell them at the listing appointment, great, I'm available from this time to this time. If you call me at this time, I'm going to return your phone call at this time. Da, da, da. And again, you have a standard. You go into a doctor's office, a lawyer's office, what do they have? A standard operating procedure. You go on the plane, they go through the pre-flight checklist and all that shit. You need to have the same thing. And what do new agents tell me? I'm a new agent. I'm looking for any business. No! I knew this guy was going to be a nightmare, but I'm new, so I want to get, no, wrong. Right? You're one of my agents, slap you, man. Like in the middle of you saying that, like, no, right? That's not what we need to be doing here. That's not equated to a successful agent. So I would ask all of you, have you done that? What do you do, right? In your standard operating procedure, what do you do the moment you sign a listing at the meeting? What does that discussion look like right after? What do you prep them for? Are you letting them know to not listen to outside advice about real estate? Because I do that. Why? Because everyone and their mom is going to come at them. Oh, you signed a listing. How much commission did you pay? 6%? But my friend does it for 1%. You should have told me. How do I know that? From experience. So what do I tell them? I say, Mr. Seller, now that you sign with me and we're working together, of course, it's real estate. Everyone's going to talk to you, right? Now, everyone and their mom thinks they're an expert. So you may hear things and people may say stuff that throws you off or might make you upset. Before you come to any conclusion, you call me first. Cool? Fair? I prep them. Now that call is, hey, my cousin said blah, blah, blah. Now I can have a different level of conversation versus, oh, I want to cancel, you're ripping me off. Same thing with the other one. I tell them, for the first week or two, you may feel a little nervous, sick to your stomach. It's normal, right? It's a big transition, right? You're selling here, you're moving to a different state. This is a new chapter of your life. Nerves are going to be involved. So if you ever get super nervous or something and it's bad, call me, okay? I'm calming them down because I don't want you know what, we want to cancel. That's a different conversation, right? How do I know this stuff? From experience. But I have a standard operating procedure. Same thing when I walk around the house right after I get it signed and I have them highlight features about the house. Right? I asked them at the listing appointment to already have a copy of the key. And I bring the lockbox with me to the listing appointment and I snatch it on the door. Like we're ready, right? Copy of the most recent mortgage statement, right? Like all that stuff. Is that what you're doing, right? But again, that's part of our standard operating procedure in Team BC. That's what we do for listings, right? Now you have to have the same thing with your buyer. You better not be getting a call from a buyer and just drop everything and go show a house. If you are, please exit this room immediately. Paula's like, shit. Walk of shame. Get out of here, Paula, right? She's like, shit, I just did that before I came here. Damn it, Paula. All right.